Okay, man. Okay, I'm driving. Jeez, Louise. Father, why are we going to that cliff? I'm just taking a little detour. Father, what are you doing? Father! Ah, man, that car crash really hit. Hey everybody. Today I'm gonna be talking about industry plans and failed industry Pokemon tried to make. As you know, I don't really like industry plans. That's why I'm with Stunfish. It's my homie, bro. But that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's get on with the video. Our first case of Game Freak's first industry plant definitely starts in Gen 1 with the iconic Charizard. Now Charizard back then was not really meant to be like the one that everyone loves, as I'm pretty sure they all equally kept the status pretty all beloved, but later generations it's completely clearly shown that the Game Freak loves Charizard compared to the other ones. First of all, it got 2 megas. Before that became a cool trend for other popular Pokemon, and the other thing, it even got a Gigantamax and was the signature Pokemon of a champion. It's the first time a starter has been like the signature of a champion that just isn't your rival. So it was just crazy that they really made Charizard this special. Another one is Pikachu, which makes sense as it is the mascot. I don't really blame it, but some of the stuff it does get is a bit too much. So glad Raichu actually got the original form and the Mega and 2 Mega Evolutions to, at least keep up with his pre-evolution. Another one was actually Clefairy, who was meant to be the original mascot before Pikachu and was pretty popular as the Moonstone one, but they later on failed and they stopped it. Another one is also Jigglypuff, who's iconic as it was in the anime, always drawing on their faces and stuff. And was even it's even one of the characters in the Smash Bros franchise. Another one is Meowth, who I say is pretty iconic, as he also got 2 regional forms. He also even got a Gigantamax along with that, and it shows that how much Game Freak truly love Meowth. Another one was Psyduck, but it's been a while since Psyduck got love. It was supposed to be like the comedy character, kind of Meowth. It was like the stupid one of Ash's crew with Misty and stuff, but it just kind of didn't really go that well. Another one is Magikarp, who is definitely popular. I honestly at this point I think Magikarp's even more popular than Gyarados. There's red Gyarados, but Magikarp just kind of, I think, outweighs. It literally has its own mobile game. You made the big leagues and you got a mobile game for yourself. And we have Eevee, who's also an iconic one, mostly for its evolutions, but even itself, it got its own Let's Go game alongside the Pikachu, and it's based on the second-hand mascot of the franchise. And the biggest one of Gen 1 definitely gotta be Mewtwo. We all know this, it's Mewtwo, of course. He's the biggest one. He got 2 Mega Evolutions alongside the Charizard. Surprised he didn't get a Z Mega because of how much they love him. But let's get on to the next generation's industry plans. For Gen 2, I have to say it's Togepi. It was literally the mascot of the whole breeding system. It's an egg for God's sake. It's literally an egg. Of course, it's the mascot of the breeding system. Sudowoodo was definitely a Pokemon to be a very popular one of Gen 2. It had it all you had to use a watering can, which was a pretty unique interactable thing, but it seems like it later on just died out of being the popular one. Another one I say is Miltank, who also, with it having its own signature item in the games being Momo Milk, but I don't think Miltank is that iconic. Yes, it's iconic with Whitney, but as itself, it's just an okay Pokemon. Another one is Ho-Oh, which is kind of crazy to say Ho-Oh since it's literally a box legendary, but they clearly wanted to make him absolutely the best one ever. After all, he's the one mostly involved in Johto's story, and he literally did everything. Another one's also Lugia, who was literally just created just for the movie and only ended up in the games because of popularity, which is stupid. And it's also weird how Suicune is also the one who's also an industry plant, as they tried to make him a bit more popular compared to the other ones. They knew what they were doing. They literally gave him Pokemon Crystal, the thing I used as my background for my shorts before. Now let's get on to Gen 3. As for Gen 3's mascots and stuff, I think it was definitely like Shedinja. It was one of the few Pokemon that just like evolved, that had a very special case of evolution, with it coming out of like a Nincada if you had like an extra Pokeball or an extra space in your team. And I'm pretty sure they wanted it to be that popular. It literally has the only one with its own ability being Wonder Guard, which basically just only allows you to get hit by super effective moves, even though it's oh god, the worst type ever. But I see they try to do something. Another one is also Sableye, as it was the first Pokemon without a weakness before they did Spiritomb, but it was still a pretty unique one that kind of made it very special before Spiritomb came and kind of made Sableye lose his aura. Another one is Flygon, because there was no need to make Flygon this cool. They knew what they were doing. They wanted kids to already make this popular. They knew what they were doing, but yet they still didn't give him a mega. I'm still not forgiving you for that, Game Freak. And also, I think Zigzagoon and Seviper could have worked as they wanted them. You know, like they're literally just these two rivals Pokemon. They even have like our scars literally against each other. It's in the DNA. But I think the biggest industry plant of Gen 3 definitely has to be Absol. It had its own a special role in the movie. It got two megas, one of them being Z, which is the new one. Like, it's obvious that everyone loves Absol. As for Gen 4, let's go on. For Gen 4 industry plants, I obviously say Infernape. Just kind of like Charizard, this thing was very much popularized, especially in the show. This thing was literally one of the big things that made Infernape popular. I'm pretty sure if this thing was just a normal Ash Pokemon in the show, people wouldn't really love it, but since it had its whole dark, sad story with Paul and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's what made the thing become like very popular around. Another one's also Bidoof because of memes. Like, I didn't think they wanted to make him like special, but it's pretty sure he's now just like a popular one that Game Freak know people like. After all, 1 year they literally made this guy the mascot. They gave him a whole video on YouTube. So that just shows you how popular. And the other one, you already know, it's Lucario. You can't have industry plants without Lucario. You just can't, bro. I literally had him in the beginning of the video and in the thumbnail, so you already know. And for Garchomp, it's obvious they wanted to make this guy popular. He got 2 megas as well, and was literally the signature one of Cynthia, which is also a few times champions have like pseudo legendaries as a part of like the team. Wait up, like, okay, maybe I don't know. This is kind of a lot when I actually think about it, but it's pretty sure they wanted Garchomp to be like a popular one. They knew what they were doing. One that I think that failed though was definitely Croagunk. Like, they wanted this guy to be like a mascot of Sinnoh. It had its own area in like being the mascot of that town in Sinnoh. I kind of forgot his name. I barely play Sinnoh games, and even it being in like Brock's team with all his, jabbing him in like the ass, because of its poison. So it's pretty obvious they wanted it to be popular, but it kind of feels like he kind of failed a bit. And Darkrai is obvious. They literally gave him a mega evolution in the DLC. The whole DLC is revolved around this guy. I'm pretty sure he even had his own movie. He appeared multiple times in the show. Look at him, he's cool. It's obvious they wanted him to be popular for Khan. Another one I think is Giratina, who basically is just the mascot of like Gen 4. Like, without Giratina, Gen 4 would have been lackluster. His whole version fixed an entire generation. He created the distortion rumors there. He's literally the one who fixed it all. He's just the guy, he's the guy. He's the guy who did it literally. Now let's get on to Gen 5. For Gen 5, there's definitely some Pokemon I think failed as industry plants, especially being, the free monkeys, everyone who makes fun of them. Understand what they wanted to do. They wanted kind of like a secondary starter without actually making like secondary starters, even though Gen 6 did that and did it way better by just giving you other starters. But I still appreciate what they did, even though they're not as popular. They even had a whole gym which depended on your starter. but yeah, they just kind of failed. Another one I think is also a Scavalier and a Selgo, which I also made a video where I made about switch items and this guy. So why don't you just watch that also, as you are here watching this one, obviously after this, But yeah, they will be such unique with them being the few Pokemon which, like, when they trade they switch. I guess Machamp and Golem could also be this, but Escavalier and Selgo is pretty obvious they switch items. Another one I think also was supposed to be like a very cool Pokemon for everyone to like is obviously Hexorus. He has a whole shiny area of him. He's a part of IRS's team. He's in lots of guys' team. He's just cool. Everyone knows this guy's cool. Too bad his stats are sad and he didn't get a mega evolution. Justice for Hexorus. Another one is Chandelure, which you might think sounds like literally weird as who the heck cares about Chandelure? But in Japan, you surprisingly don't know how popular this sentient lamp is. That's literally the reason why he's in Pokken. It's not because they just wanted a random Pokemon. Like, obvious, like, look, that's the game of literally the most popular Pokemon dead. You got Charizard, Lucario and stuff. But Chandelure is very popular in Japan, so I understand why they brought it. And another one I think who is also very popular is definitely Volcarona. They knew what they were doing. It has its own area. It got 2 Paradox Pokemon. And he has such a long level just to evolve. I always thought when I saw this guy, he was like a legendary, but he's just a bug. He's just a bug. But let's get on to Gen 6. For Gen 6, it's Greninja, and do I really have to say anything? It's Greninja. You already know. As Greninja, popular in the show, blah blah blah. We all know Greninja, why he's so popular. And I think one who also is a bit popular definitely has to be Aegislash. It's not really like as popular, like it's still a cool sword guy, but like he doesn't really work that well. He's okay, he's alright, he's fine, he's chill, he's okay. But he definitely was meant to be popular because of his unique ability being stance change, of how he literally like switches from attack to defense mode. And another one who I think is an interesting plant definitely has to be Hawlucha, as it was literally one of the first new megas they showed in Legend ZA to hype up the game. It's a cool bird. It has its own signature move that's be such a dual type move. So yeah, they knew what they were doing. Another one is also Hoopa. Like, Hoopa is just so cool, man. It's a creature that makes portals. It's also basically the mascot of the DLC. It had its own movie. So yeah, they wanted it to be popular. And the last one I think is definitely Zygarde, which is weird as Zygarde is like basically a signature legendary in ZA. But look, it was literally there in what the heck was Barney? Yeah, Barney. Yeah, in Barney's team as that squishy little baby, and he transforming into like his snake, his dog, and his Gundam, and he literally got a giant gun. So they knew what they were doing. They just wanted to make the most Digimon Pokemon they could ever make. But let's get on to Gen 7. For Gen 7, I think it has to start off with Incineroar. He's the mascot of VGC. He's so dangerous, everyone knows, like, just talk to Wolfie. He knows why Incineroar is that popular. Another one I think is Charjabug, which is weird that it's the mid form, but surprisingly got more popular than its first and final evolution. And it's kind of becoming a bit more popular in even the mobile versions, being like the thing to show your phone's percent. Another one is also Bearware, as it was in like the show. They wanted it to be a very unique Pokemon, changing the whole thing of Team Rocket, like blasting off again. If you just catching them and bringing them to its home like some sort of like kidnapper. So yeah, I think they wanted it to be very popular. Another one's also Golisopod, especially with having its iconic ability, Emergency Escape. A stupid ability, but a unique ability, nevertheless to say. But I'm pretty sure they wanted it to be popular. It's so cool even. Another one, Savala, basically just Teemo Arceus, if it just getting stuff, and even having a whole plot in like the show with Allah, what's his name? Lily's brother, I forgot his name. With him using it and it being one of the first legendaries also to evolve alongside the Cosmog. Another one I say is Necrozma, who is literally like based on like the mascot of like Z moves. He absorbs other Pokemon, kind of like how Kyurem did, but in like a cooler way. He has the hardest fight, which sticks into people's memories forever. So it's pretty obvious they wanted to make this guy like very like iconic. But let's get on to Gen 8. For Gen 8 was starting with Cinderace, a Pokemon they clearly knew they wanted to make popular. And what's up with most of the starters they want to make popular being fire types? Like, I'm starting to see a habit here, but it's obvious Cinderace is like the most popular out of the other ones. It has literally also Pokopia, so at that point it's popular. Another one's also Corviknight, with it having the law of Tinkaton, and also being like your being the transport Pokemon. So it's like they really wanted to make this guy like very popular. A weird one who started to become very popular is Airplane, a Pokemon I would have never expected, but it's starting to get hype with it. Literally getting Dipplin and also Hydrapo, one of the best design Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie, that's like definitely like top 10 favorite Pokemon of mine. Like, it's so cool, man. Like it was even like signature guy of Kieran, so they clearly want to make Airplane like a popular Pokemon with having different apples and stuff. It even was one of the few Pokemon to get a Gigantamax. Another one is Cormorant, who I kind of think failed, as they wanted it to be like, he dives, he gets a fish, and he also has a chance of getting Pikachu. But it feels like people didn't really like the joke. That's kind of lame. But the one who didn't fail is definitely Phalanx. They knew what they were doing. They knew cute balls were gonna make everyone happy. Who doesn't like a pair of balls? Wait, not those type of balls. Another one is Urshifu, who's also kind of the secondary like VGC mascot with its Wicked Blow and Multi-Strike Urshifu. We all know what Urshifu did in the competitiveness. This bear literally ruined everything. And speaking of bears, we have Freddy Fazbear. Urshifu, not Urshifu, Ursaluna, Ursaluna. With Ursaluna getting its Blood Moon form, which basically just made this guy instantly popular. Like, they knew literally bringing back a Pokemon from the past and making it all old and have a cool new form was easily gonna get popular. But now let's get on to the last generation, Gen 9. For Gen 9, it's not a fire starter this time, it's Meowscarada, a Pokemon they knew they were gonna be popular. It's a grass and dark type, it's cool, it's a fairy, and it's even one of like the protagonists for Liko is partner, so it was obviously gonna be popular. Another one's also Smoliv, because like he's a cute little ball. Like, this guy is for some reason more popular than his peers, and I'm pretty sure like Game Freak know that he's popular. And also Lechonk, because of like the memes. We all know Lechonk was carried by the memes. Like, no one cares about his Oinkologne. No one cares about Oinkologne. Another one I think also is definitely Amarouge and Cerulege. I'm more like Cerulege, even though I like Amarouge, but Cerulege is literally like Edgelord 1000 right here. Like, Game Freak advertises guy so much because they know he's at this point might even compete with Lucario and popularity, because I cannot see, like, each time I enter the anime I literally always see a Cerulege that, Bitter Blade. Another one's also Tinkaton, like it's a cute girl with a giant hammer. Of course they wanted it to be popular, and even it destroys Corviknight and turns it into its hammer. Brutal but cool at the same time. Another one's Toadskull, which also started to get popular because of it having its wiggly wobbly legs, and it even in like, I think that was like a scene in the anime where it's like it interacts with like a tentacle and they start running away goofy. Like, they knew it was gonna be popular, like with that weird waffle stompers of it, of course. And another Annihilape, a one we've been waiting for, and they knew what they were doing, and I'm so happy that Annihilape is such a cool Pokemon. It's a ghost monkey which is angry. That's what I've been waiting for. Another one's also Koraidon and Miraidon, which were definitely meant to be popular. is Caradon. I think Caradon's a slightly more popular one like Game Freak. No, is it's just like more like monsterish, cool feathers, giant lizard guy. And also Ogapon's also very popular. Like it's a cute little girl, you know. They advertise it so much, you know. And also Tarapa goes with it. Even literally, they put it in the anime. It's baby form before it even came out. Before the games even came out. So yeah, those are the interesting plans that I think Game Freak made. Some that failed and some that succeed. But tell me some that I missed and tell me what do you think about this. I've been Panda 13th and I'm out.